Cecil Adams is a cynical, reclusive genius. But for over 2 decades, he's been answering questions on any and every subject sent in by you, the teeming millions. Now, even more of you will have access to Cecil's brilliance. Prepare yourself. You're about to get a dose of the straight dope.
Hey, welcome to The Straight Dope. My name is Mike Lucas, and I know why you're here. You've got questions that have been burning a hole in your gut, and you want answers. You want the truth. Give it to me. Well, that's exactly what you're going to get here. My boss, the legendary recluse Cecil Adams, has dedicated his whole life to providing you, the teeming millions, with the straight dope on any and every subject. Today, we'll show you what goes on behind the scenes at a funeral home. Also, what are those weird number stations on the radio? What about those ridges beneath your nose? And we'll have the truth about hair growth. But first, a question about chimps. Oh, try that one. Oh, man!
Dear Cecil, when I was 14, I saw a 90-pound monkey who could literally pick a grown man up and toss him right out of a boxing ring. The audience was challenged to stay in the ring for 3 minutes to win $100. I saw these 2 guys get tossed right out as soon as the trainer blew his whistle. My friends don't believe me, Cecil. Can you back me up? Also, do monkeys make good pets? Tom M., Chicago.
Tom, it just so happens that your story is very believable. Tell that to your so-called friends. Chimpanzees look so cute trucking around their little roller skates, wearing funny hats, and going, ooh, 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 ooh. But when roused, they're vicious little bastards and not to be messed with.
Chimps and baboons, many monkeys, are very strong physically compared to people. It has to do with the physical geometry of their muscles and bones, but pound for pound, they're a lot stronger than we are. Even a 10 or 15-pound monkey is about all I can physically manage. I do know some people who have worked with chimps in zoos that have been severely injured. They've had fingers bitten off or other things like that.
Blessed with a muscle structure far superior to Homo sapiens, chimps can handle almost anything that comes along. But it's a lot easier to get a chimp in roller skates than it is to get him to pump iron. So most of the data on chimp strength is anecdotal and pretty unscientific.
Chimps would be considered to be about 3 or 4 times as strong as a human being, as a strong human being.
In tests at the Bronx Zoo in 1924, a dynamometer was erected in the monkey house. It's a scale that measures the mechanical force of a pull on a spring. A 165-pound male chimpanzee named Boma registered a pull of 847 pounds.
Whoa, strong chimp.
A 165-pound man, by comparison, could manage a one-handed pull of about 210 pounds. Even more frightening, a female chimp weighing a mere 135 pounds and going by the name of Suzette checked in with a one-handed pull of 1,260 pounds. And get this, she was in a fit of passion at the time.
We got a winner!
It has to do with their anatomy and their physique in a lot of ways. And the fact that they can also, if you think about chimpanzees can travel through the trees and they have a lot of strength in their arms.
Is that where most of their strength lies, is their arms?
Absolutely. Especially if you look at the gorillas, well, you can see their legs are a lot shorter than their arms. And that's kind of part of their physique, is that their arms are a lot bigger and more muscular. And their legs aren't as important. It's not like us, where our legs are usually a little bit more muscular and longer.
In deadlifts, chimps have been known to manage weights of 600 pounds without even breaking into a sweat. A male gorilla could probably heft an 1,800-pound weight, not even think twice about it. As you might deduce, therefore, the word on keeping chimps as pets is a big negatory. Chimpanzees can never be fully domesticated. They're aggressive by nature. Sooner or later, they'll start to threaten their keepers in subtle ape ways that the untrained eye won't recognize. Until one day, blammo.
As they get older, as they mature, they're going to start thinking, well, now it's my time to become the leader of the group, to become physically dominant. And once they get to be about 4 or 5 years old, then they're going to start to become sexually mature. And as they do that, they'll think, well, now it's my time to take over the group. And being as physically powerful as they are, they're going to be able to overcome anybody who's a person in a household.
But maybe you're thinking, I'll just keep the little beast until it starts to act tough and then toss it back into the jungle. Wrong. A chimpanzee brought up in captivity won't be accepted by its brothers in the wild. Shunned, the citified chimp will either starve to death or be set upon by a simian hit squad. No matter how you look at it, keeping a chimp as a pet is dangerous and inhumane. Don't do it.
If I did not know an animal and it was angry at me, it could really do some damage to me. If I threatened it in any way, I would be very afraid.
You know, certain body parts are less popular than others, but that doesn't mean they're less important. Dear sea salt, in my early years, before I knew what a Kleenex was, I always knew the function of those little vertical ridges that run from the nose to the upper lip. Now that I've grown to the full flower of adulthood, however, I'm curious. What are those ridges really for? And what are they called? Annie, Dallas.
Nasal nose ridge, French. Nose ridges? Nose? No. That's a mustache area.
Well, Annie, it's good to know your personal hygiene has improved so much since childhood. But those little ridges are still doing the job Mother Nature intended them for, which has nothing to do with keeping your chin clean.
The nosolectomies?
The ridges protect a particular sensitive spot in the skull where 3 bones meet, 2 from the sides, 1 from the top. The last being the device that keeps your nostrils separate.
There are areas that, and you can see perhaps some fine lines on the bone. The fine lines or ridges on the bone, representing here and here, are actually the areas where the bone has come together. These are called the sutures. And there are small areas here, near the incisive teeth, that have joined with these 2 areas, the palatine shelves and the intermaxillary segment, just their formal names. There are 3 areas that need to come together here to form the palate, and the overlying skin then has to come together and grow over it.
Almost every animal has them, all the way down to lizards. In humans, the ridges develop after 14 weeks of gestation. If they fail to appear, the child is born with an unfortunate condition known as cleft lip.
Basically what it is the nose as it comes across, and it's normally forming. If it doesn't fuse when it meets in the middle, then you get a cleft lip. And that's why you always notice that the cut's never right down the middle. It's always a little to the side or a little to the side here. And that's because the nose forms by moving together that way. And actually the hole, the nares on each side, is formed by the convergence of 2 pieces of tissue together. So that convergence forms the edges.
The ridges themselves aren't graced with a name, but the depression between them is. It's a cute one. Philtrum. That's so cute.
I guess it would be like right there.
My philtrum is here.
The ancient Greeks, who liked the whimsy as much as the next civilization, thought the lips resembled the shape of Cupid's bow. The philtrum, then, metaphorically, represented the grip, the center of Cupid's power.
Nice philtrum. Did you see her philtrum?
Nice. There's a word for what we have to do now, and that word is commercials. But the show is not over. We still got the straight dope on why some body hair grows longer than others, and why some bizarre shortwave radio stations broadcast only numbers. And we're going behind the scenes of a funeral parlor to find out how our bodies are prepared for burial.
Okay.
You'd be a fool not to stay tuned.